Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Two Funcles and a Niece. I'm Takia, and we got Big Rob in the building.
Rob here. Hey,
How
what's
you
happening,
doing today?
Queen? How you doing, Queen? What's happening?
I'm doing great. I am doing great. Just
Good,
chilling
good.
indoors, enjoying staying nice and cool while I see you're outdoors out
I'm
in
outside. It,
how's that
it,
weather out there?
it's beautiful. Yeah, if I'm not underneath this canopy, I'm beaming down in this hot sun. So right now, it's beautiful.
What's the temp out there today?
I guess we rocking with a good 90,
Ah,
90 degrees.
ooh,
We not getting that scorching, boiling 100 plus. We don't get that down here. We get
today
good weather.
today's high is going to be 104. Right now it's
Yeah, that's
96
what I'm
out
saying. See,
here.
we get good weather here at 90. Y'all go ahead and keep that 100 and plus up there in Texas.
Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Well, today's episode, we're going to discuss the Uvalde, Texas mass shooting at Robb Elementary School. Um, we have so many mass shootings going on in the United States, and
Yeah,
it's just crazy. You just never know. One, if you're at home, you're gonna turn on the news and hear about another mass shooting, or God forbid you're out just, spending time with family, working, shopping, anything. You just never
anything.
know nowadays what's gonna happen because of the mass shootings.
Yeah, and it seems
It's
like they're so young, so deprived of life nowadays. These young shooters that's doing this.
Yeah, it's alarming that these mass shooters are getting younger. It's like, what is going on with our youth? 18,
Yeah,
it's crazy. Well, on May 24th, 18-year-old, see, 18, very, very
18.
young,
Yeah,
could just be getting started. Salvador Ramos went to Robb Elementary School and killed 19 children and 20 and two teachers for a total of 21 beautiful lives lost. May all of those beautiful lives rest in peace, and my prayers are with the
yeah.
families.
Rest in peace too.
Yes, it's just crazy. Like, I was at work, I'm out here in Texas, so I was at work, and my mom texted me, and I'm like, nah, I didn't really hear about it. So then, I started getting notifications, and then at one point they said what 14 children. Then it went up, and then I'm like, oh my goodness, what the hell is going on? And as time went on that day, we really didn't hear much. We heard law enforcement responded timely and shut everything down. So most people were like, "Oh my goodness, how could this young man do this?"
Young
And
man.
now we're hearing all these. We're hearing the more accurate stories of how law enforcement in the state of Texas responded, and or lack thereof response.
Lack thereof. Yeah.
And it's just sad because when I reviewed the report that the committee in Texas released, it appears that they could have acted faster and potentially saved lives.
Sure.
You
Sure.
know,
Sure. Sure.
and it's just
Sure.
crazy, Big Rob. It's just sad. And for me, I look at it as I look at myself. I'm not cut out for law enforcement because I'm simply not ready to run to any emergency situations, I'm just not with it. But
Yeah.
to me, if you sign up to be in law enforcement, you know that it is your job to me, I look at it as you should protect and serve. And I don't feel like the majority of the law enforcement that responded to Robb Elementary School that day did their job effectively.
Yeah, yeah, which is true. But you know what? I see a little. I know what you mean. Not signing up law enforcement, but as a parent, and I'm a parent, I would be ready to run in that school with my gun and shoot too. I mean, I get it. Some of those parents want to tear through the doors and get in there and save their kids by any
Mhm.
means. So you know, Yeah, I know what you mean about not running too, but I think in a different situation, if one of your young nieces or nephews was in a situation and you can get to them and save them, that law enforcement part of you, you might not be in the field, but that'll kick in and you'll be like, I got to save minds, you know. But the police now, they're paid now. They're
It's their
paid.
job.
It's their job. Nobody forced you to do that job. You took that job to be paid to do that job. What did you miss on the application? Did it say brave, half brave, or coward? Did check one? No, doesn't say any of that.
Hmm.
You took that job and you know what the job consists of. Firemen took their job. They know what the job consists of. So you can't stand around listening to shots when there's babies, being attacked. You just, I mean, what were they thinking?
I have no clue, but I know that um, post the 1999 Columbine high school shooting, mass
Yeah.
shooting,
Yep.
officers are to immediately confront,
Yep.
active shooters. And
Yep.
in this case, when you watch the video, you see them just in the hall, just really not doing their job. Now, part of the reason, and then when you look at the report the committee released, over 376 law enforcement officers responded to the
That's a
school. You
that's a lot
had
of cats.
100, yes, that is a lot. 149 U.S. Border Patrol, 91 state police, 25 Uvalde police, and 16 sheriff deputies. To me, that is just too much. And I feel like with that
That's over.
many, that
That's
would
overkill. Yeah.
create, yeah, that would create chaos. But you would think when you hear that many law enforcement officers responding, you would think that they would have been able to save more lives. But it
Yeah.
appears, and based on the report, there was a lack of leadership, which is very important in any situation, especially an active shooter. You need leadership because you need someone to let, hey, look, this is what we're gonna do. This is where I need you. Boom, 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 boom. You got
Yeah.
370 officers and chaos, no leadership, no communication. It was chaos, and you
Was it more
have a
chaos?
situation where you see video footage later, and you see people standing around running from
Yeah. It was
the
more chaos with the
gunfire.
cops than
Hmm.
with the kids getting shots because the cops were in the hallways ducking bullets and the bullets weren't even coming near them. So it
Hmm.
was pretty strange to even see that video. But 300 plus officers and not one of them ran inside there to help any of those kids getting shot. And they had the body armor and the shields. What's wrong with that picture there? You
Yeah.
guys got all the protection. These kids don't. You know, if you take a slingshot and shoot a rock at these children, their little skins cut. You guys got all this armor, and you were the ones ducking and running. Hey, you took the wrong job. Time for you to quit.
Yeah, and they said that I believe in December or sometime late last year they received active shooter training. So
They do receive this. That's part of the job. They receive that all the time. Hell, I do security work, and we get that training of active shooter. It's part of even when you do security. So if we get it, and I'm sure their training is a lot more than what we get, and when we don't wear there's no body armor on us. If
mhm.
we have to respond to get people out of our building, what were you guys thinking about when you got body armor on, mask, you got helmets, shields, and you hear kids screaming and crying being shot at? What's your main objective? Shouldn't it have been to protect and serve, as they call it? Didn't see any protecting, but the only thing I seen anything with service was when my man was servicing his hands with the hand sanitizer.
Yeah, that was bizarre. And you, what we do know now is one of the officers, he received a call from his wife who was actually in the classroom, and when he allegedly tried to go in, they disarmed him, and sad. But there were so many parents that were willing to go in there, and as a parent, obviously
Sure,
that is, it's
sure,
just natural. As a parent, you're going to run to it, and they
absolutely.
were denied. There was one parent, I remember reading her story early on, um, close to the end of May, early June, and she was trying to go in there, and
Absolutely.
was detained at
Absolutely.
one point and pleaded with them to let her go. Finally, one of the officers released her, and she actually went in there, got her 2 kids. She climbed over a gate, went in there, got her 2 babies, and then came out. You heard so many stories of parents trying to go in there and willing to risk it all because that's their children.
Well,
That is
imagine,
their children. Yeah.
well, imagine this. You trying to do more than the people that's getting paid to protect. Imagine you as a mother or like me running in there and I'm coming out with kids. They're not even mine. I'm just grabbing kids to save them while the shooter. But you guys with the shields and everything are standing around, trying to figure out who's in charge, who's going to give the order, who's going to tell us when to go, who's going. I mean, what are you guys actually standing? Why are you holding people back? Don't hold people back. Let them run in if they want to run in and save their children. If they're willing to do it and you're not, then you pass your gun and shield over to them and let them go do the job, and you stand on the sidelines looking at. That's how I see it as, because it just seems like the police were taking up space
Hmm.
and they had the opportunity to help.
Yeah, and who knows? We can't say what coulda, would have been done, but we
True.
do know that a whole hour from the time that this young man entered the school, and ultimately border patrol agents decided, hey, we're gonna finally breach the classroom, we're pulling rank, we're going to confront this shooter. Almost an hour later,
Yeah.
so much more probably could have been done sooner if they would have acted immediately, and in my opinion could have saved lives.
For
And
the
it's
same
so
life.
sad to see all those beautiful children, young children. It's like, now as parents, you got to be concerned when you send your children to school, because you simply don't know what the hell's going to happen. And I
Yeah,
know
that's
it's
true.
got to be very stressful for parents. I feel for all parents who have to send their children to school.
And you have to.
And then you got to think of the children, what is going through their minds.
Well,
I remember,
walking
I don't
over,
know about you, but I remember going to school. That wasn't
that
even
wasn't
on my
even
mind,
that wasn't even on the mind. No,
yeah.
that was
And
not on your mind.
yeah.
Nowadays they have to actually walk through the school and watch and look and listen for every little thing. Because
Hmm.
if you hear something go pop, now you're running scared, and turns out it might not be anything, but you never know.
Hmm. And
You never
then
know.
they said in the report, they also said that the school, they had some active shooter training and active shooter measures in place. However, people were getting lax and leaving doors open,
Yeah,
um and I can attest that, working in different companies, the alarm goes off and everybody's like, oh, it's nothing, and you sit there and you just, now or you'll have that time in the company where it's something wrong and it's just going off, but it's not anything. It's not anything serious, but the alarm is go off. You're sitting there. Now, when a real emergency situation occurs, you're so used to the alarm going off and they say, oh, it's nothing, just sit there. Now it's something and
it's
you're just
something.
sitting there.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
I remember last
yeah.
week I was reading that they had placed the principal on administrative leave, and I felt at one point they were trying to blame the principal. And so I was listening to the principal speak, and she was saying that you know she tried to set the active shooter alert
Uh-huh.
off, and due to Wi-Fi issues, it wasn't immediately going through. And so then I guess said she tried to, kind of creep down and get close to a window to set it up. But this is like 30 seconds, 40 seconds later, when those 30 or 40 seconds are precious
That's
time,
precious time. That's
because with
precious
an
time.
assault weapon, well, let's be clear, it only takes 2 seconds,
To
you
actually
know.
ring off, you can ring off 30 rounds in that short period of 2 seconds there. So
Hmm.
for every 2 seconds, take that 30 rounds. It's a lot of 30 seconds. That's a lot of ammunition to be fired.
Hmm.
You know,
And so
so
finally, when she was able to get to the chief Orendondo, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correct, then he's pretty much like, yeah, we know. Now, I guess there was some type of, maybe a issue at that time when she was trying to, set off the alert, so teachers didn't know at that time. And I guess people were saying, well, she should have got on the PA and
The
announced
PA
it. Which,
system.
when I'm thinking, I don't have no. I have basic active shooter training that any employee would get from an employer, but at the law enforcement level, I would think that that wouldn't be the right thing, because especially in a school, because now it's probably going to be more of a chaotic situation when you're announcing this over a loudspeaker
Yeah,
with
exactly.
several hundreds of
Exactly.
children and teachers, and now you're letting this person know, this active shooter know that,
Yeah,
hey. So I don't
exactly.
necessarily feel like that would have been the right thing to do.
No, because
And
that would cause panic and
yeah,
chaos.
and now you're
That would cause
alerting this
chaos.
person. Now you're
Yeah.
alerting this person, and it's like, I
So now
don't
he's gonna come out
believe
in the
that would have been
hallway.
the right thing to do. Yeah.
It was the same thing like when them kids pulled the alarm and the kids were out running out to school and they were up on the mountain shooting at the kids as they were coming down. So now give an active shooter something like that, and he stands out in the hallway, and as the kids running out in the hall, he's shooting them as they running, trying to run away from him. Or you do that and they running towards the shooter, not knowing which way to go, and now you got another problem. So yeah, I mean, screaming it over the PA is not good. But keep this in mind. From what I'm gathering, the Republican Party shot down a bill for this for the Amber Alert active shooter uh, kind of deal. So
Hmm.
it's some people that just don't care about, they're more concerned with is the guns and not the lives, and that's what people need to look out for.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
then in game is children. All right, in game is children. Once children start getting hurt,
yeah,
look, you need
yeah.
to
You
put all your differences aside, put the
put it
parties to
aside,
the
yeah,
side, and do what's best for the children. Okay,
but
because the
not
children are
when it comes to
dependent on
money.
us.
Not when it comes to when they're getting their money.
Hmm.
When it comes to them getting their money, it doesn't matter to them then. And you got to remember, it's a lot of old guys sitting up there getting a lot of money from these gun rights groups. So their main objectives is, as long as I keep this money coming in, I can't worry about whose lives die. What life? Because one, they're not seeing it as a life because it's not. It has no effect on them. It's not a member of their family. So that's why it really doesn't bother them none, because you're not going to take away their gun rights, as they want to keep saying. But to say that an 18-year-old can get an assault weapon and go cut down lives like that,
Hmm.
you got to do something.
Yeah. Now with
Got
with
to
the
do something.
principal Gutierrez, she said that, when I was saying that they said she should have went on a PA and announced it, but she said part of her active training shooter was to not go on a PA and announce that, where
You don't.
just
Yeah,
and
you don't do
so
that.
she's since been reinstated. I said, a few minutes ago that I felt like they were gonna try to pin that on her. This is my thing. I feel like ultimately, some of these officers, when you were standing outside those classrooms, if it was in you to serve and protect. And if it wasn't in them to serve and protect, because you knew standing out there that, hey, this isn't for me, then they should resign effective immediately, because they are a liability to the public.
I can tell you one thing to that. A lot of times these cats, and maybe I could be just exaggerating, but when you get that mindset, well, it ain't my kid. That's why you act the way you act. Because other than that, you were supposed to tear off down that hallway, burst in that door, and kill that guy before he can kill another child. But they didn't. They waited. And that's the scary part. They actually stood around and waited. So in other words, you're giving me you're telling me it's not my child, so I'm not going to run down there and get myself killed, kind of idea. Because after 19 of them are dead, and you're not, and you didn't break into that room for an hour later, yeah, I see a different side to those guys.
Yeah,
See a
I
different
agree with
side.
you. And again, I said it, to me, I feel like it takes a special kind of person to actually be in law enforcement at any level. I've come across some really good officers, so I'm not going to sit here and say all of them would not, run to the active shooter, but they're just something and again in the Uvalde school shooting that just simply wouldn't. And again, when you were there, you were there, and you know that in that moment, in your heart it wasn't for you. So
Well,
stop
okay,
collecting a paycheck and move on and go get a job that's not going to have you being a liability to the public, because again, you just simply never know if something like this may happen again where you're called
exactly,
upon. If you couldn't do
exactly.
it that day,
You couldn't do it that
you
day,
couldn't do
you
it now.
won't do it
Yeah. and
because
and, and in my mind I feel like even if they felt like, some of them felt like, well, we're waiting for a command, we're waiting for our chief, who our
which to
superior
me
to let
that's
us know, like,
nonsense.
hey,
That's
well,
bullshit. I'm sorry. That's
some
bull.
of them would have felt
No,
like, some of them may have felt like, hey, well, I may lose my job. Once that, if any of them would have went in there without waiting on the chief or whoever their superiors to give them that order to go into that classroom, and they would have been relieved of their duty and lost their job, the whole world, not even just the state of Texas, the United States, the whole world would have been upset with that,
of
and
course,
they would have
of
ended
course,
up reinstating, or we would have did what we normally do.
of
We
course.
would have created a GoFund and made sure that those officers were taken care of. But
But
instead of someone using, just to me, common sense, like, you hear this, what they, I'm sure they can hear it, and I'm sure they can hear screams and so many different things. It just doesn't sit
that's
well with
why.
me that you could stand outside that classroom like that. And again, like I said, for me, I'm not built for law enforcement. I don't care at what level. I don't want any parts of being in law enforcement because that's just not for me. I'm not built that way. However, you decided to take the job, and I feel like most people nowadays are taking the job because the money is probably good.
Well, I don't see. I see it. I don't see one good cop in that whole scenario, because if you're telling me that you're waiting for your superior, it's just like this. If you see a bad cop doing something and you don't say anything, you're a bad cop.
I agree
Plain and
with you,
simple.
a hundred
You're a bad
percent,
cop.
Big Rob. I
If
agree
there's
with you a hundred
10,
percent on
if
that
there,
one.
it when it's if there's 10 cops out there and nobody's doing something, when they see one cop doing something, you all 10 of you are bad cops. Plain and simple. There's no gray line on it, because when you took that job, you know what you took that job for. You put your life on the line every day. And now here it is that as we just walk the streets nowadays, and we got all these, Pookies and Ray Rays out here, we're trying to rob everybody. We all put our life on the line. It's just that you're being paid to put your life on the line. So to watch all those cops and the ones that are cleaning their hands and all of them standing around, it tells me that I see it this way. You're all bad cops. Because if you're waiting for one man to say, okay, go save lives now, oops, too late. We already lost 19 lives. You're all bad cops. There's not one good cop in there. Sorry to say it. And even if you if you saved 10 lives yesterday, tomorrow you might let 10 lives die because you waited to do your job because the commanding officer told you to wait, or you were waiting for the commanding officer to tell you to go. In a situation like that, you hear babies screaming, the commanding officer, damn his rule. I'm going in and I'm going to save lives now. I'll take the consequences afterwards. If you fire me, you fire me. Good. I'll go on every radio show and every TV show and tell you why I got fired. Because I ran in and I saved 12 lives. And I killed him. I was fired for going in, and was told not to. I can work with that. But to stand around and when you hear the shooting, and I'm watching the video, and these guys are ducking. Why are you guys ducking? He's not shooting at you. These guys are ducking, and no, he's not shooting at you. And you have shield and body armor on. Why are you ducking,
And,
cowards?
and then another thing, when they knew where he was, so it wasn't like he was going to be able to get to the other classrooms, and that's just crazy to me too. But yeah, um, in law enforcement is that the brother code. I'm gonna say the blue code, whatever the hell, because I'm not in law enforcement. I don't know. Or you're not supposed to speak out
Yeah,
against one of
yeah.
your
Not against your
brothers
own.
in, in,
Yeah,
in, in blue, but it's
yeah.
obviously gonna start costing you your livelihood. So if you're not willing to do the right thing, then you may be prosecuted, just like in the George Floyd
Well,
case,
yeah,
where two
yeah,
of the others
yeah,
were prosecuted because you stood there and watched that. Now, in this case, I don't see them handling it that way, but I mean,
yeah,
there should be
yeah.
some. people, some of these officers placed on administrative leave and a thorough investigation. However, I just feel like because they come out and blame every level and not
Exactly.
responding properly,
Exactly.
which it's a training issue. However, if you're in law enforcement, what the hell are you doing? What training are you getting? How often are they receiving this training? I think with more and more mass shooting, there needs to be more and more active shooter training. I don't care if they're going every 2 months, every 3 months, once a week. The amount of shootings that's going on today in America, you and if you're in law enforcement, you need to be alert and ready all at all times. And if in training you flinching up and you're unwilling, then you may not be right for law enforcement.
Well, like they say, it takes you longer to get your cosmetology license than it is to do training with police. So there you go. That tells you right there. You can become a cop in what, a year? It takes you a couple of years to learn how to really cut hair and things like that. So hey, the most of the cop, their training is going to the range, do some shooting, blah blah blah, and they're good to go. But as far as when it came to that situation there, if you're standing around wondering what to do, then you shouldn't be doing that job because you shouldn't be standing around thinking about what to do. You should be standing there saying, "Man, when I ran in there, okay, I took a bullet, you know what I'm saying, but I was able to knock him down, and then, yeah, I'm a little tired, I'm a little sore, but you know what I'm saying, but I stopped him." You know what they were standing around saying? "Man, we got to wait for the commanding officer. We got, ducking it." No, no, no. You say administrative leave. I say each and every one of those cowards, and I call them what they are, cowards, need to be out of that position because you proved to me that if you don't have the moxie to run in there to save babies, what are you gonna do with an adult like me when I'm being shot at?
Well, I say administrative leave because in most cases that's what happens, so they can do a thorough investigation, whether that is a 48, 24, 48-hour investigation, a few weeks. That's what typically happens. First, you're going on paid leave, and they investigate, and then they make a determination because behind the scenes they do have certain rights within their
Oh yeah,
agency, which
oh yeah,
which is
oh
why they
yeah.
have to go on the paid leave first. However, I feel like, look, no paid leave for you because you know that this is not for you, so you should do the right thing. But most of them are not going to do it because at the end of the day, it's gonna be blame. It's blame everywhere. The blame is at every level, even
Every
down to
level.
the school, and even up to me, to the governor, because the
No,
parents, I've watched videos of the parents saying, where the hell is Greg Abbott? Like, where the hell are you? You're not here. You're not speaking out. You're not
what's he,
um
what's he gonna do? What is he gonna say? What is he gonna say? And you
make
know
some
what's gonna happen?
changes.
They'll vote him back in again anyhow.
Most likely in Texas. So I got a few questions for you.
Go for it.
So should teachers be trained and allowed to be armed at school?
No, 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 no. No, no, because hey, listen, I get it. But look at it like this: people have bad days. Do you really want that person that just had a bad day, divorce, stress, da da da, to be walking around with a gun too? They were in a fight last night with their husband or wife. You want them to come into school carrying a gun? You don't want that. No, no. I mean, even with cops, you want, that the guy that leaned on George Floyd's neck. Do you think he just did that just because? No, there was a history of them and they showed the pictures of George Floyd with his wife, and so that kind of stress there. No, I can't. Nah,
Yeah, I
nah.
just look at it as when you look at the Robb Elementary School, these law enforcement officers were trained, and look at how they responded. So, and then you have, say, some officers who have what tenure of what 20 plus years or whatever the
Yeah,
case may be,
yeah,
and look how they responded again. And so you're asking teachers to be armed with handguns
exactly,
who have less training to
exactly,
actually try to confront an active shooter
exactly.
who has an assault rifle, which we all know They're gonna have body armor on in most cases, and we all know that your handgun, you can't bring a handgun to assault rifle fight. You
Well,
just can't do
how
it.
many
You simply
teachers were
can't.
killed? How many teachers
Um,
were killed? Huh?
two teachers lost their lives, and
Good.
then there was another
So,
teacher. He was shot twice.
okay, so
Um,
two teachers lost their life when they're in that classroom.
yes, and you know what? They were trying to protect their children. They didn't even need a handgun or any type of weapons to
Okay,
go and try to defend and protect
now,
those children. Because as a teacher, and I've never been a teacher,
yeah,
but
but here's
those
the
are like
negative.
their children. Those are like their
Yeah,
babies.
but here's the negative about giving them a gun. That's two teachers that just got killed. That's two more guns you just gave this guy. So now he goes get their two guns. So now you gave him two more guns along with his assault rifle. So giving them guns is not a good idea. Not a good idea. Because the more people, the more teachers he killed, the more guns he pick up and got and have. So now I'm not for teachers having guns, but I am all for, and I don't know why they don't like paying for things like this, which is mind-boggling to me. Why do they not pay for armed security in schools? I don't understand it. You should have that, and and give them the same peace officer status, that if they have to shoot, they have to shoot to kill. You know what I'm saying? If there's somebody comes in, this guy walked into school with his gun. So now, if I see, if I'm a armed guard and I see you walking to school and you got a gun, I'm not going to tell you freeze. I'm going to shoot you, because I already know if you come in there with an assault weapon, you're not coming in there to teach. There is no teach in you. You have an assault weapon in your hand. You're coming in to do bodily harm to many. And I'm not going to allow that to happen. So I don't know why they do not place armed security at these schools. They just don't pay for it either.
Yeah,
They
so
don't
we
want to pay
know
for it.
that. I mean, I agree with it. It should be in the budget, but in different states, different
Especially,
situations,
I mean,
you have
especially with all the shooting. So it should
yeah.
be.
In Ohio, you had Governor DeWine sign a law to arm teachers within 24 hours of training, which is simply crazy. And again, you have irresponsible gun owners
Yep.
at
Yep.
home.
At home.
So there, I'll as just an individual just thinking about it. What if, God forbid, the teacher leaves a gun somewhere under, that's not secure? You,
Exactly.
I'd
That is
rather leave it in the hands of the people who are truly
sup-
trained to.
supposedly trained.
Mhm. And
Because
again, I'm not opposed to having the armed security, more armed security at schools, um,
I'll give
more
you another
metal
one on that one,
detectors.
though. If you say arm teachers at school, at what level do you arm them? Because if you figure you say arm them in high school, well, nowadays some of these high school students are so big. What happens if they jump on a teacher, come in, I got a bad grade. This teacher failed me. I'm not gonna graduate. I'm mad. Now the teacher's not paying attention. I bust this teacher's side of the head. I got his gun now. So now what? So look, you got all the scenarios you have to start figuring. There's not one. There's going to be one good, 10 bad. One bad, 10 good. You got to go both ways. So those are the things. That's why arming teachers, not a good idea. But if you have that security, that kind of security, whose his job is to walk that building, constantly checking doors, things like that. Then you won't have those problems. You won't have, doors unlocked here, this guy just somebody can just walk into your school and just start shooting. You won't have these things. But like you said, they don't want to put those kind of things in their budget, because if they do, they know that they're failing. They'll feel that they're failing. We're not doing something right. Well, you're not doing something right because 19 people just got killed. Babies just got killed. So you're not doing something right.
I mean, there are schools who do have resource officers too, but I think that instead of trying to bring more guns into the school, I think they should hold the people accountable who are trained, and it's your job and your responsibility, your duty to protect the public and schools, and that's their job. I don't feel like teachers go to school to be certified to have to to carry weapons. People go to school to become teachers to be able to teach. They want to teach in peace. They
And
don't want
peace.
to
Yeah.
have to pull out guns and oh. But we all know that most teachers, and probably 100% of teachers, if they had to protect their students, and I'll say their children, because that is what they feel like, even at the high school level, these are their children, they would step
Can
in
you
front
guarantee?
of the babies
Can you
and try to
guarantee that?
protect that. No,
But
but
can
I
you
would
get? There you
say
go. There
they
you go.
they most likely would. And even if they just, if the first thing to do, you get that alert as a teacher, you're locking your doors down. That's
That, bro,
protecting. That's
that
protecting your students as well.
that's another thing right there. A lot of these classrooms, when you start hearing why do we teach? Why a lot of these schools, when the kids are in the classroom, classroom doors should be closed. They're not. This is why this guy was able to just walk on in and walk in the classroom. These classroom doors should be closed, locked. Now you're teaching, so
Yep.
he shouldn't have been able to get in the classroom anyway. So
Well,
there's a
again,
lot of things that
it
they
went
should be
to,
doing.
and again, that went to a lot of a part of the report with at the school level, they failed because they became lax. And like I said, if you was to survey people, employees at their organization, and they would tell you when those alarms go off, they're at the point where I'll say desensitized to where it's like it's just an alarm going off. It's not real. Nothing's happened. So they don't leave. They don't respond. And so now when the alarm goes off and it's a real situation, you're used to not
Yeah,
responding to the 5,000
yeah,
other times where it was like, oh, it's nothing. Ha, ha,
yeah,
ha. No, I
yeah.
feel
That's
like
what it is.
in this day and age, I don't care if previously when the alarm went off or you got the notification, you leave immediately. You do whatever your training is telling you to do. So if that alarm goes off and oh, we disrupt the class because we have to lock the class down, I don't really know what they have the children doing, but everybody gets in place. I don't care. So when it does happen, everybody is already used to, hey, this is how we respond. But again, if you were to ask people at their organization, a lot of people would say, yeah, the alarm went off. It was nothing. We just
It
kept
was
working.
nothing.
Like I
Yeah,
remember working, and most of us we're looking like, is that real? We don't know. And instead of truly going to find out, oh, is it? This is working. This is it. It always does that. It always does that. So now when something really happens, oh, it always does that. And now a real situation is going, but you're already like, oh, it always happens. It's nothing.
yeah.
And then it's something, and now that individual who's coming in there to do harm is already ahead of the game because we're
Ahead
just
of it.
like, oh, it's nothing, it's nothing. Or it could have even been something like a fire, and we're like, oh, it's nothing. And now we may not be able to get out the building because we didn't leave when we first got that first alert to get the hell out, or
Well,
whatever,
but I,
whatever your training was for a situation, because we're so used to just, oh, it's nothing.
but
Well,
I'm still
in
curious
this
on how
day and
he got
age,
in.
everything is something, huh?
I'm just curious how he got in so easy.
Well,
That's
didn't
my
they
curiosity.
say the door wasn't locked?
And there we go back to my whole security thing. Excuse me. How come there's nobody walking around checking things like doors and things like that? Like, okay, in where I work at, the high school, they have alarms on all the doors. So if you don't go out doors that you're supposed to go out, you hit another one of these doors, the alarm goes off right away. So how come none of these this where the door that he entered, which he shouldn't have got into because it should have been locked anyway? How come there's no alarms on that door?
But
You
remember,
know,
we said that in the report, it said that even at the school level, they were lax with doors being not locked, secure. So
who
that goes to failure. At every level, somebody
that
failed
and that's the
the
failure.
children teachers.
Well, right there, that's the failure of the principal. That's the principal failure. That's the principal because eh, each and every one of those doors daily should be checked. And if they're not, it's you, the administrator now, because there's no reason why. And like I said, those doors, if they're not specific doors that people go out anyway, then why is it open? It shouldn't even be open. But if it's a door that they use as an exit, well, shouldn't that door be able to freely close without a problem? Shouldn't it? So it's just, yeah, there's a lot to the story. We're just not going to get the whole story, but we know that the cowards were in full view.
Okay, so let me ask you this:
Go
do
for it.
you think the age limit to purchase guns should increase from 18 to 21 and all types of weapons,
No, I think
or even higher?
the age limit should increase to 25. I think 25. And I think with 25, I need to know everything about you, because if I need to know if at 18, 19, and 20, did you attempt suicide, or how's your home life? Because listen, even good kids go bad. Even good kids go bad.
Yeah.
So do I think a young 21, does a 21-year-old need to be walking around with a gun, or what? What are you walking around with a gun for? Because you go to walk, you know what you're gonna do with that gun at 21? Show it off. Play with it around your friends. Doing stupid things. And then somebody accidentally gets shot.
Mhm.
And then what?
That's
We
a good
we
thing.
we
Good point.
know this. We know this from experience. You know, young and dumb and playing with a gun and get shot. It happens. There's no excuse about it. So does a 21-year-old need a gun? No. 25, good enough age for me. Because now, like I said, at 21, you haven't done anything. But at 25, if by 25, if you're not working, saying do something constructive with your life, then you up to no good. Why are you 25 years old? You still living at home with your mom in your basement, but you're not working or doing anything. So why you need a gun? You don't need it. So that's why I say, yeah, 25 is good enough for me. And if at 25, if you're not hard working, earning your keep, then you don't need no gun. No.
Yeah, I think like I had this conversation with someone yesterday. I do believe that they should increase the age limit because what 21, you can't even purchase alcohol and
Nope.
tobacco products until what you're 21, but yet you can purchase assault rifles at an early age, and then
Exactly.
and so it just goes to show you how
Exactly.
backward we are as a country. And for me, I believe the age limit should increase. I also think they should have more checks in place, red flags, more
Yeah.
things should be documented. So when they are running these backgrounds, there's a red flag that, hey, this young man, like in the Buffalo shooting, may all of those individuals who lost their lives rest in peace, and praying for their families continuously daily. That young man had a situation maybe the
Exactly.
year or two before at his school where he's threatening to shoot up his school. So
Exactly.
why was he
Okay.
allowed to purchase guns? Why wasn't that on record? If you have at that age, if something like that occurs, and it should be documented, so when you hit 18, because now he could have just faked the funk and waited till he was 18, and now, oh, I could go get the gun.
I can go get my
Yeah.
gun.
So
That's
there
right.
should have been some type. It should have been documented. So when they ran his background, that this would have been flagged, and now there needs to be more of a process, maybe locally with the feds or whoever, so where they're contacting this individual and get more
Sure.
information as to why
Sure. Sure.
you want to purchase any type of weapon, considering a year ago, 6 months ago, you just threatened to shoot up a school
Exactly.
and had to be committed.
Exactly.
So to me,
Exactly.
that I'm not saying we know it's so many guns on the street, black market. There's guns. So even if they were to increase the age, people will get guns, right?
Sure.
So
Sure.
many guns out there, but I think it would help in certain cases. Not saying it's going to help in all cases, but it can help some. So if we're better about how we are screening people, you get better screenings to get a goddamn job to work at a grocery
A
store. You
grocery
know,
store.
you
That's right.
you you got to go through
That's right.
more to get a damn job where you're making minimum wage than you do to pick up to purchase a weapon that may take lives.
Well,
So they're
hey,
not
listen.
doing that. Our so-called leaders, aka fake elected officials, need to do their job and be better about it. Like I was saying out here in
Well,
Texas,
they're not going to do.
Abbott
They're not going
needs
to get better
to,
about it.
yeah,
That.
but
That
they need to. Otherwise, this is going to continue to happen. But at the end of the day, it's not affecting their children because their children
exactly.
aren't
That's it
attending
right there.
schools where
That's
our
it right
children
there.
are. And then we got to get people out. We got to vote people out who are not working on
Well,
behalf
how
of.
do we do that? How do we do that when you got to, if I'm running for office and I'm getting money from the gun lobbyists, how do you vote me out when half of America carries guns, and I'm in a state. I live in a state, right, where
Mhm.
guns are part of our everyday lives. So how do you vote me out when I'm all about guns, 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 guns? People don't want to hear nothing else. You saving my gun, I'm saving your gun. Yes, your gun, gun, guns, guns. They vote me right in. They love that.
But
I live
even
in
though most
yeah,
people want some type of gun reform to where
some people do, but
there's
if you start
more
saying if
checks.
you, yeah, but if you start telling them now, say like what we just said, raise that age. Now you're the enemy now because now you telling me here's a parent and I'm a gun guy, right? And you telling me my 18-year-old boy can't get a gun because I'm not voting for you. I'm voting for the guy that says 18 is okay and he can have a gun. That's the problem right there. Naive people. You can't take away naive. Naive is embedded in people. You got being dummy is embedded in people. Instead of people going, yes, raise that age. You know what? Or how about this? How about this one? This one even sounds even better. Go to some of these parents and actually and sit down with the parents. Listen, your son is trying to purchase a gun. Can you give us some background on him? And please be honest with us. Well, you know what? He was having some problems and tell us the truth. So we know, okay, this guy can't have a gun. But you know what? The naive people will be like this. Nah, my son is an excellent guy and he's good and blah blah blah. Knowing that kid live in the freaking basement and he down there tearing crap up. You want to okay him to have a gun.
And there
So
are some
that's a
signs.
problem.
There typically is some signs, or if to me, so parents can carry their children on their health insurance up until what, 26, if they're
26.
in
Yeah,
school, something like that.
yeah,
26.
26.
So why not start holding some of these parents more accountable? Your 18-year-old child, your
That's the problem.
17-year-old child went to a school and shot up a school. So now we're gonna hold you accountable as well. Then
That, that's a problem right there. But how do we hold them accountable? What do we say? Okay, your child shot up and killed people. Do we charge you with murder? What do we charge him with?
I have no
But
idea. It's just
that's
a,
that's
a
and
thought.
that's the problem right there. If that was the case there, we wouldn't have had like a Columbine shooting, things like that, because those parents knew what their kids. I mean, when they was calling, when they showed on the Columbine thing, and they saw parents calling school, I think my son is part of some gang called the Trench Coat Mafia. So in other words, you knew your kid was something was wrong with him. You knew this,
Mhm.
and you knew he was out there. He had guns. So how come you didn't step in and deal with that, Lynn?
Unless they fear their kids.
And,
There's some parents
and
who
there you
are
go.
afraid of their children. But
Okay,
like I would say, definitely, if your kid is underage and they bring your gun to school and do something illegal, it's time to start holding them accountable, because then you'll have more responsible gun owners. Not saying that that's going to stop the mass shootings, because I just simply think
it's not. It might not.
we're so
It
far
might not.
gone.
But
We
what?
just are.
But what about the parents who also take their kids out in the woods and giving them the gun? Okay, there's that, and shoot that squirrel and shoot that. What about those parents that start teaching their kids how to shoot from when they're 6 and 7, 8 and 9 years? What do you do with those parents?
But it
You know
doesn't
what?
necessarily mean that those parents who have taken their kids out young to shoot and they may be teaching them how to be responsible. Doesn't mean those kids are
No, I'm not saying that.
going into
But
the school shooting the schools out. So I
yeah,
mean,
no, no. But I'm saying now that you're training them at such a young age to shoot, and how about this part? Now that they've killed something, that feeling of that euphoria of I killed something kick in. So now they go to school. and they get into a little tiff with somebody, and they blah blah blah. They have that euphoria of, I killed something. Well, now that euphoria of, I want to kill this person now can kick in. Yeah, I shot and killed that deer, and that felt good. But what? How does it? I wonder how it would feel if I shoot that boy that keep picking on me. How would that feel? So that can kick in. So now I done been practicing how to shoot. Look, and like I go, it goes back to those kids that got up on the mountain and was shooting at the kids after they rang the alarm. Well, those same kids, their parents was teaching them how to shoot young, so that's why they were able to be up on that hill with the sniper rifles, and as the kids were running out, picking them off.
Mhm. It's
So
just sad because the age is getting younger with our
I think, and
children. It's
I
with
think this
all
kid
of
fucked
the
up the road
killings
too.
going around in general, not even just when you look at what's going on in New York, Chicago,
That's just because
everywhere. The
that's just
age
because
is
now,
getting younger.
yeah, we just got a bunch of knuckleheads out there. These, as they call them, like I said, the Pookies and Ray Rays, the knuckleheads who just have nothing but time on their hand, and who has and putting their brains that, I don't fear going to jail. I don't care about this. I don't care. That mindset is there. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. And once that mindset is there, you can't. A lot of them, you can't get that out of them.
And
That, I don't care mindset.
it's a sad thing.
It's there.
It's definitely sad, and it's just crazy the state that America is in with the mass shootings. And again, you don't know when, where. To me, at this state, you got to always just be prepared. And what I say by prepared, because you can never be prepared. Hell, if you go into the grocery store, in and out, know your exit before you even start your shopping. Your nearest exit when you go down to the back to say the dairy section or whatever. You know that over there on the right, this is my nearest exit. Don't go if you're a woman. Don't go all dressed up cute looking for a guy. If you do, you wear your jeans and stuff, but make sure you have sneakers on because you just never know. You got to know
Yeah,
your nearest exit. You got to always be ready, even though that is simply not enough because
it's
when it
not.
happens, you don't know what the hell,
You,
where the
exactly.
person's coming from. But
Exactly.
let's be
Exactly.
clear, I'm gonna have some sneakers on anyway. I ain't wearing heels any
I
damn
get
way,
you,
but I'm
but
gonna have some sneakers on.
yeah,
But again, it's
but when
sad
you in there
because
looking at
that
salmon,
never knows.
exactly,
You
because
just
when you're
never
in there
know.
looking at your salmon, you want the right piece, and you looking at him, and all of a sudden he's shooting. I mean, what are you gonna do?
My mind is already trained. Like every time I go to the store, mom, that's the
What
first thing. I'm
looking
looking
around for?
constantly. I used to be a little more lax because we all be lax. No one is ever thinking that you're gonna go to the grocery store to buy a birthday cake, to get some food for a cookout
Exactly.
or barbecue later
Exactly.
on, that someone's gonna come and shoot the store up because of the color of your
Exactly.
skin or just because I had a bad day and now I'm gonna hurt people who I don't
And,
even know. You're lax. You're just living life because that's what we should be able to do. We should be able to go anywhere we want without
hey,
fear of someone shooting up the place because of those again,
hey,
because I
didn't
don't
that
like you
pastor?
because of your race, your gender.
Hey, didn't that pastor get robbed?
I don't even want to talk about that because that's another conversation. That's another story. That's a day for another conversation.
That's what
But
I'm
at
saying.
the end of the day,
That's what I'm saying.
think
You
about
never
it. Like with
know.
me, I used to be in the grocery store. I'm listening to my music just free. I don't even carry headphones at all. Hell, when I walk down the street, I don't because my mindset is the person who's driving by may be having a bad day and may just assume, oh, I don't like her. I don't like how she's walking. I don't like the color of her skin. I don't like the way she looks. So I am at a point where every little thing, I don't care, even on the train, I'm paying attention. I'm looking. If you look suspicious or acting funny, I will get off the train and get on the next car because I don't trust. You got to be alert. You got to just expect the unexpected at all times. And that's sad that that's how we're having to live. But again, that's just what it is. When I go to the grocery store now, like when I go to Aldi, um, I know I know where to exit. I know where the hell I need to be. I'm not lollygagging in my mind. I know what I need. I know what I need. Even if I know it's something I shouldn't get and I know I want to get it in the back of my mind, I know where it's at, get it, get the hell out. When I go up front to pack my bags, I'm looking out the window, looking at the exit to see who's coming, what's going on. When I look out before I'm going out and then I'm grab my stuff, boom, I look to see, oh, you coming? What's going on? Car moving? I'm gone. Not saying
You
that
do it.
that's gonna
You do
save
it too
me.
much.
But no, it's unfortunate. You have to be like that because this is the state we're living in. I'm okay with it, and you should be okay with it too. We grew up in the damn Bronx, so we used to already
that's why,
ducking and all types of situations. So this is just, it's
hey,
normal.
look,
It's
look.
sad though. It's sad that that's what you have to do when you go out. You can't
Hey,
even
look,
go
the
to the
dude
damn movie theaters.
somebody looked like a guy looked like he wanted to rob me the other day, and I caught a glance of him, and I just let him know. I was like, bad idea, dude. Bad idea. He was sidestepping me, but listen, come on, race across the street, and it could be a bad day for you. But me, I'm just not, I sit back, close my eyes, even when I get on a train. I don't pay nothing, no mind in here
I ain't
anymore.
sleeping on
I'm more or less,
anything.
it happened kind of idea.
Yeah, I don't
Because
want to sleep on any trains because I don't want nobody coming over trying to steal my bag or whatever. That's the mindset I have. If I'm not, I'm up. Ain't no falling asleep. I can have 1 hour of sleep. I'm gonna be wide awake because what the hell I'm for? Where you falling asleep? Well, you got a long journey, but come on now, big. Don't
I
be falling
know
asleep on the train.
hey, listen, when you got to get up every morning at 2:30 in the morning to go to work, sometimes keeping your eyes open even on a train is hard.
I'm gonna need you to be a little bit better about that. You one of those. You one of those. Like when I first moved out here, I used to take the train. And I
That
always
those
had
guys,
this
huh?
guy who would sit next to me, always would sit next to me. He's dozing off, and next thing you know, he's falling asleep on my shoulder. I'm like, dang, we in a relationship because you sleeping on the shoulder. We definitely got to be in a relationship. Ain't no way. And I mean, every day. And then he always sat next to me, and I'm like, okay,
He was testing
whoo, falling asleep on me. Then I started doing this. Get up off me. You gotta ask me. Ask me. Don't just do
he was
it. I'm gonna say
he
no,
was,
but damn, and that goes to like again. You just got to be alert because
hold on,
it's
hold
so
on a
much
second.
going on.
Y'all leaving? Can I get a hug?
So much going on. So much going on in this day and age. It's sad that we have to live. I don't want to say necessarily living in fear, but some people maybe. I'm just trying to be more alert. Not
All right.
saying that that's going
Y'all
to
be careful. Yeah.
guarantee that I make it home the next day, but being alert and aware
Uh-huh.
of your surroundings is
So I said, go ahead. Have
all
fun.
you can do. And that doesn't mean that, again, it's going to save you. But you still just got to be alert and aware of your surroundings and
Yeah.
know your nearest exit. Now, unfortunately, if someone is coming in from that exit that's nearest to you, I mean, again, if it's your time, it's your time. There's simply nothing you can do. But at the end of the day, we got to be more alert because we're so used to just laxing and moving. But we got to be more alert and more aware of our surroundings, especially as women with trafficking at an all-time high, especially in a state like Texas. You got to be alert. Like I be looking at these white vans. Like, is this one restaurant I go to? They got a white van. I'm thinking like, who the hell does white vans as a restaurant in this day and age, knowing what the white vans are associated with? But again, as women, you have to be alert because, and even with the children, they're bold. I swear, it wasn't last week. I think it was either the week before last. I got so many damn alerts of children being kidnapped, and it's like, wow, what the hell's going on? But then again, with the trafficking high, and they're trying so many different things in broad daylight, especially at places like the parking lots of your grocery stores, etc. You just got to be alert. You can't be out here not knowing what potentially can happen, and so that's why I say be prepared to run if you have to. I mean,
Yeah.
I hear more men saying now, women be armed, protect yourself. I hear so many men saying that for women now, and it's true. And we just you gotta be alert. And then it's sad again with the schools because all the training and stuff they have in place in this particular school got a little lax with certain things that could have helped, but I don't necessarily believe it would have prevented this young man from truly getting into the school. But we get too lax, and then when something occurs, we don't know how to respond because we're responding based on what we've been trained to do prior instead of what we should be doing. And again, that goes to what I was saying about being in the office and we have these alarms going off and everybody's like, oh, it's nothing, it's nothing. So when it really goes off and it's a real emergency situation, we're like, it's nothing. We gotta treat everything going forward like it's potentially something. I don't care if you look crazy. Like I told you, I was on the train. It was after a storm, trees down. I was looking down at my phone. Then I guess we hit some branches or whatever the hell. We hit a tree, and it's like boo boo boo. I'm like getting on the side because I'm like, and I said, oh my god, and everybody looking at me like I'm crazy. But guess what? That's just what my body is trained to do. Obviously, from being in the Bronx, we done ducked so much craziness. But again, we have to treat every situation and be prepared as if something's gonna happen, and that's sad. But
Yeah,
that's the state we're in. We
that's
can't
where we're.
we
Yeah,
can't go to the mall today anymore and just be free. And I guess that's what these mass shooters and I guess that's just how they want us to feel like we're not free to go out and live life like we should be able to do it. And again, it's sad, but most importantly, it is sad that our children cannot go to school and learn in peace, and our teachers cannot go to school and teach their children in peace and feel safe.
you're not going to get that until some laws are changed. That's for certain.
Yeah, I agree with you, Big Rob. Any final thoughts on the Uvalde, Texas Robb Elementary School mass shooting?
Listen, I'm always going to feel saddened by. Like I said, I'm a parent first before anything. So those parents, they need the support of the world of America right now. And I don't think they're actually getting it because they're getting a lot more nonsense from these meetings that they're having and not getting actual facts and truths. So, my heart goes out to them, and hopefully one day they get some true answers.
I
So
agree with you. I
hopefully,
agree with you. Again, I want to send my prayers and condolences to the parents, the families of all of those beautiful lives lost at Robb Elementary School. Um, we need more action. I don't necessarily feel like most law enforcement would have responded like the law enforcement did at Robb Elementary School, but hell, I'm in Texas, so I'm hoping that that's not how our training is, and most of our officers are. I don't believe it's like that. We had
but
that incident. We had the incident with the mentally ill lady at the airport, and they acted swiftly. Now, this is the thing I want to say about
yeah,
that.
that was a mental. This was
Yeah,
shooting.
but with her, no, I'm just saying our law enforcement in general
Yeah,
being trained to respond and do what they're supposed to.
yeah.
But in that case, they shot her I think in the leg or whatever. And so they responded quickly
Hold on, they
because
shot her. They shot her with what?
with a gun.
Did she
Mhm.
have a weapon?
She was shooting up in the air in the airport.
She was shooting
So
up. Oh,
and
wow,
so think about it how that could have turned out in an airport, how that could have
wow,
went. So I'm they responded swiftly, but I want to know more about um how she
wow.
got a
How about
gun.
that?
How she got a gun because she's had other instances of being documented mentally ill and unable to stand.
How
Um,
about that?
yeah,
There you go on
mentally ill.
the
So
lesson
I'm
learned.
I'm
How about
curious
that?
as to more about that, and we could talk about that at a later date.
Yep.
But again, I want to send my prayers and condolences to all of the families um, who lost lives at Robb Elementary School. I want these law enforcement officers held accountable, starting with the highest level, held accountable. And again, if you aren't able to do the job, and this is to those officers, then resign and go and work somewhere where you're able to do the job. Because when we can't do a job, what happens? They trying to get rid of us. So we got to stop. This is the stakes are high in when you're in law enforcement because anything can happen. You can be out, high speed chase, anything can happen. So the stakes are high. And if you're not willing to do the job, then you're putting the
Quick.
public's lives at risk. And you should resign immediately and just go work somewhere where you feel capable of doing the job. And that's just simply it. Or they should be fired. Again, condolences to all of the families. May all of those beautiful souls rest in peace. We have a little special tribute for those 21 beautiful lives. Tune in Sunday. We're going to be talking about Brittany Griner. So tune in Sunday for that episode. Big Rob has a lot on his mind about that. And we're going
Yes.
to let him share everything on
Oh my
Sunday.
goodness.
And yeah, he's got a
See you
lot to
Sunday.
say. And
Oh my goodness.
y'all have a beautiful weekend. Make sure you love on your people because life is short. Love on your people, live life, be safe, be alert, and just have a beautiful weekend, y'all.
And just to let all the viewers know, this was just a cigar. I do not indulge in marijuana at all. I do occasionally like a cigar, and that's it.
All right, y'all. Y'all
You
have a beautiful weekend.
stay safe out there.
Stay safe and love on your people.
Okay.
Blessings, blessings, and we'll see you on Sunday.